Our guest tonight is Tapas Yogi Kalathi Adiyanandi, and he was initiated into a karmic death journey through the direct teaching of his enlightened Siddhar gurus and the masters in India. While he was traveling in the wilderness and meditating in caves in South India as a sadhu for over a decade, Nandi represents the wisdom of the liberated. He is a visionary, a yogi, a transformational guide who is from the mystical path of the Siddhars of South India. The Siddhar teachings, Tantaram, represent the roots of yoga, tantra, and mantra. His core teachings, the Kalanji Kundalini Yoga, is based on imparting the experience and guidance to attain a life of freedom, purpose, health, and inner wisdom. Throughout his lifetime of teaching and as the founder of the Aravind Sakti Temple in Los Angeles, Guru Nandi has devoted his life to attaining the attainment of inner wisdom and awareness. Awareness not only of this world, but of the world of spirit as well. Guru Nandi participated in the Declaration of Consciousness December 21st, 2012 in London for the Three Magic Words premiere, the gala premiere, and screening of a groundbreaking metaphysical documentary from Starseed Film called The Three Magic Words. The Declaration of Consciousness was announced to usher humanity into the new dawn, a day when the individual freedoms and the many paths to enlightenment would be recognized. And you can find out more about him at www.nandhi.com. Welcome, Nandi.
Hello, welcome to you all. Welcome, Brenda. Thank you, Brenda. Thank you for inviting Nandhi here.
Well,
Wonderful
we're all
to
like,
be here.
we've never had a guru before, and we've always wanted to, and we feel very blessed to have you with us tonight. So my first question, I know we spoke a little bit, but we
Mhm.
didn't talk about your personal history. How did you first discover your spiritual path, and at what age was that?
Um, when we first have the initial experience as a child, we think of it from a very different perspective. In Nandhi's case, being lost in a forest and seeing this being who suddenly appears and Nandhi connected to him, that shiny, radiant being, more as a friend, as a childhood friend, rather than a spirit, or rather than even a spiritual experience itself.
Mm-hmm.
So then through childhood, which is filled with ignorance, a lot of ignorance, in the sense like when you get sad, you don't know what to grip on. So Nandi would actually run away to the forest and spend time over there, and would try to go deeper within to seeking that truth. And we knew that truth would happen the moment we'd hold our breath and hold it and hold it, and then there was a childhood friend who would come. And he would come in the form of the experience. So when Nandi was about, say, 13 years old, we started writing the book about God. We wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote, and then we came to a block. That block was, hey, all this that you are talking about, have you really experienced it?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was this need for this experience, and we stopped writing the book. And then years and years and years later, as you grow through all the ignorance, all the growing in the human realities of ambition and wanting to do this and being the head of a rat race and being an entrepreneur, we came back with so much ambition from England. We came back, and within a few years, we had developed a huge, big, fast-growing, dynamic company with over 120 people working with us. And then we have the death experience. Now, in this death experience, it was beautiful because on one side, death by itself is ugly.
Mm-hmm. What is the death experience?
Death by itself is pretty ugly. It doesn't just come, doesn't happen. It happens with a lot of stuff, like your own body disintegrating. You begin to feel everything breaking apart. every single dimension of life breaking apart. And for Nandhi, at that point in time, we did a tarot card reading.
Mm-hmm.
And this was a spiritual being who actually did it for Nandhi, and all three cards we picked up was death.
That's very
Now,
interesting. And that brings me to, we have a lot of clients from India because people in India are very spiritually connected and they believe they are always asked, they have their own spiritual, like they love to do the readings, the tarot cards and all that stuff. Do they have a lot of that over there in India, the tarot cards?
Yes, in India, basically every possible dimension goes. Every possible dimension spirituality is taken in. So yes, and this person was pretty good, but because she actually, told Nandhi, hey, you got a mega macro level transformation awaiting you.
And so the spiritual being came through then, huh?
No, at that time it didn't look very spiritual. It looked ugly.
Ah, okay.
Because when
it was a death
that's coming for you, you don't want to die. You don't want to let go of everything. There's the time, and at that time it was different. It felt like we just wouldn't, we couldn't come to accept it. And then we actually felt it coming towards us so clearly, death coming. And then we were in a sort of a hopeless state when our neighbor gave us a lingam. A lingam is the symbol of Lord Shiva. In reality, a lingam represents the symbol of infinity. So we were given this, we did not know what it really meant. All we knew was we were like a drowning man trying to hold some straw. The lingam was like a straw to infinity. So we held that and said, hey God, where are you? And then Nandhi heard the voice within, I am here. I'm coming to take you today evening. That evening, we opened the door, we hear a knock on our door, and we open the door, and this beautiful, powerful being steps in. Power, fire in his eyes. That was Bhairava Sekha Swami. And he opened the door, and as we opened the door, he mentioned, you have death coming for you. Lord Shiva sent me to take you through your death journey. Can I come inside? I'd like to show you something. And Nandhi opens the door. And he said, do you have a calendar? And Nandhi showed him a calendar and said, on such and such a day, you have death coming for you, and I've been told to take you through it. So would you like to come? And then he took Nandhi to Sri Kalahasti, a powerful ancient place. And through the
Is it
night,
like a cave or what is it? A temple?
No, it was basically a small little hotel room near the temple. And then the next day, he took Nandhi through another journey more towards the forest and towards the first Sivalinga worship. And from that journey to the next was so beautiful because when we went through that journey, it was like a million deaths. Deaths of so many lifetimes, the pains of so many lifetimes. And then you begin to be aware, death which is being because of your own karma. Each thing you've done and then a death for it. It's more like going through a cycle of punishment and hell and then coming through and saying, hey, where are you? Where are you? And then they began to feel a huge spirit rise within. And the spirit started feeling the vibration of the spirit was so beautiful. And Nandhi realized Nandhi was that spirit. And that spirit was that beautiful, blue, huge, wonderful being. And then the next day morning when Bhairava Sekha Swami was doing the puja for Lord Shiva, that spirit and Lord Shiva was one. So as he was doing the puja for Lord Shiva, Nandhi remembered all the birds flying and all of them coming and landing on the tree quiet. Humans would come and they'd sit down so quietly. And the moment the puja was all complete and done, we were crying out of joy.
What is a puja? Now explain to our is a puja a ceremony? Like a ceremony?
A puja is the mother of meditation. A puja is when you put 200% of your mind and attention and connect it to source and make offerings. It's like you be the infinite spirit, and then from infinite spirit, you celebrate the finite. And that finite is the form. That celebrating the fin, it is the puja.
Oh,
So
interesting.
when he did this, it was states of primal joy. Ananda. Ananda means bliss. Ananda is an eternal happiness that springs from inside. And we were crying and crying and crying. Crying for the reason that we were so happy, we were so liberated. And then we said, oh my God, this spiritual being the spiritual being is so beautiful. And we touch our body and we say, this body is a little bit puny. It's so puny as compared to the size of the spirit. But the shape's not bad, We touch our face and we say, okay, we like the shape and we like its form.
So tell me,
Yes.
what role does yoga play in the belief system and in your path your path to enlightenment? Because you talked about the spirit energy, and you
Yes.
talked about going to the spiritual
Nandhi will explain
journey.
about that. We'll
But
if you're talking how we connected to yoga, right?
yes, and what is the significance of yoga
Okay.
in the
Okay,
Hindu practice?
let Nandhi mention it, okay? So the joy state was so powerful that the next day morning we woke up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and we wanted to do the puja ourselves. And we had a Sivalingam and we started our puja. And the puja was so beautiful. We would go deeper and deeper. And the reason why we were going deeper was because the state of joy was amazing. So in a day we were doing puja for 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, sometimes 24 hours. It went on and on and on because the joy state was so good. Until one day, Nandhi had an American friend who was doing yoga. And he said, would you like to try yoga? And we did not want to do yoga because we thought it would dilute the energy of joy, dilute the joyful experience we were already having. And yet we went to do yoga and we felt, wow. We realized that when we do yoga, we are able to create that sphere of energy that can hold the spirit that we awaken. That spirit that we awaken is Kundalini. So when we awaken Kundalini and when we are doing yoga, we can hold it. And likewise with yoga, we can awaken Kundalini.
And so the
Then,
Kundalini energy,
uh-huh.
explain that to our audience. Is it an energy that comes through the body? Is it a life force energy? Explain the Kundalini energy.
Mother Kundalini is beautiful. First, we must see her as a state of higher consciousness. In other words, we are all in the 5 senses. When we wake up, when we are praying, when we are deeply connected to Source, there is the 6th that is there, the spirit, and that is Mother Kundalini, the 6th dimension. Now, when we try to read books, when we listen to so many people talking about it, sometimes it's sort of like we chose our own personal experience. In other words, Kundalini is a unique experience for every single person. It would be in so many different ways. There would be some similarity, but everyone has their own unique experiences. And one of the first experiences is actually waking up to realize, oh my God, I am the spirit. And then realizing the joy is the fire is inside. Now, when Paramahamsa Yogananda, an autobiography of a yogi, when Paramahamsa Yogananda left his body didn't decay.
And why is
now,
that? Why is that?
Okay. Now that is because you have you've awakened your own inner fire, your own inner lamp, and that is Mother Kundalini. So when you are constantly worshipping it every day through your yoga, through your meditative practice, you're working in the states of joy of the fire within you. This fire begins to take over all the physical realities, including your body. So the body, they say, when we go into doing deeper and deeper yoga, we become the form of love. Because when we are experiencing the heightened state of bliss, our realities too become that state of harmony. And when we do yoga, we transform our body to a body of love, a body of light. This is Mother Kundalini in her forms in the physical. This is in reality what yoga is about. So when we say we are invoking Mother Kundalini, when we say we are riding consciousness, we are also tapping into the ancient wisdom of Tantiram. Tantiram is the roots of consciousness. This is why the Ganapati, the Lord of the journey, is worshipped, the root chakra. The elephant head symbolizes the primal energies that we have.
Oh,
Put
really?
on a
Is that
human
what
body,
is that
that
now?
is,
I was.
put on a,
That's the god Ganesh, right?
yes, yes, yes. So the Lord Ganesh symbolizes the primal Muladhara chakra, the root chakra energy we have as elephant energy, huge, mega elephant energy each one of us have. And when it's cut and put in a human body, we can transform it to being angelic. The great achievers of humanity, the movers and shakers of humanity, are the ones with a huge, big, mega root chakra. Emperor Constantine, Emperor Ashoka. So when we wake up into awakening our root chakra every day through our yoga, and we utilize this primal Mother Kundalini as a state of consciousness to journey within the divine, we are multiplying and magnifying consciousness. What this necessarily means is we wake up to our own innate genius. That innate genius is Siddhi.
And
So
how do you
every
spell
one of
that?
us has some. Beg your pardon?
How do you spell that?
Siddhi, Siddhi, Siddhi.
Siddhi.
Siddhi is
Yes.
ESP. It's not just ESP. It covers ESP. It covers psychic. It covers all that which is beyond the limits of the mind and beyond the limits of what we think is possible. That's Siddhi. Every one of us have a very special Siddhi. When we do yoga, when we go into the deeper, when we go into our inner self and wake up, we immediately also start growing the fires within of self, and we begin to understand why on earth we are here. And the moment our mind latches on our inner passion, all our siddhis wake up, all our creative juices wake up. When we are inspired beings, see, in our journey is push and pull. The push is our own effort. The pull is grace, divine grace, the grace that flows to us, the grace that comes through us as we being the receiving end of grace, the grace of transformation, the grace of that takes us through the journey. So all this is within the yogic journey each day.
And so part of your path to enlightenment and part of your practices and what you teach your students is, the physical, spiritual, and emotional levels within the yoga practice, or enhancing all that through the practice of yoga. It seems to me from what you're saying is that it's all interconnected with the spiritual path, because you have to be spiritually fit as well as physically fit.
Absolutely. If the body is healthy, then every moment is big enough to accommodate the spiritual journey.
And so you believe that and we all know yoga is beneficial, but it really can transform health.
Yoga is, when we go deeper, when we awaken, and when we do yoga from the spiritual perspective, we're tapping into energies of youth. We're tapping into energies of rejuvenation. You're tapping into the grace. We were talking about grace. So we tap into the grace, one of the highest and most powerful graces, inspiration. When you are inspired, and then your yoga is 24/7. It's not just what you do during the time of climbing up through your own state of consciousness as a yogic ritual, but also 24 by 7, you are in a meditative state. The
Ah, that's
puja
very
that they
interesting.
do,
So you put yourself almost, you're connected to the superconsciousness all the time then.
absolutely. Now, let Nandi explain to you what it necessarily means. If anyone, if you go to India and you have a chance to go to Gujarat, try to go to Ahmedabad, Mahatma Gandhi's ashram. Why it's such a spectacular place to go to is to understand what Turiya means. One person, there's about, say, 800,000 books he's written. And then there's another, say, 2,000, 3,000 books, and volume upon volume of writings about Mahatma Gandhi. So one person did it all. How did it happen? See, he was called Mahatma, great soul. Why he was called a great soul is because he woke up. And when he woke up, he was in a state of Turiya. So being in a state of Surya, he was in a super conscious state to be able to do all this and more. Mm-hmm. This is what we tap into and awaken when we step into the path of yoga. Each of us become the Mahatma. Now, when we say Mahatma, that one Mahatma Gandhi actually got India its freedom from a mighty superpower of a colonial country without bloodshed. That was the power of one Mahatma. So imagine if all of us on a global scale wake up. That is declaration of consciousness. This is declaration of consciousness. When all of us wake up, and all of us, just by our very being, our thoughts have gained so much potency that when we come as one single thought, we make things happen. So we come back into this aspect of saying these are powerful moments for humanity. This moment, especially when we are coming together, is a very powerful time for humanity. When each of us now have the propensity to be ready to say, yes, I am the Mahatma. I am the vastness of spirit, having the human experience.
We certainly have at our fingertips all the knowledge that we need to know, about the physical body, the spiritual body, the emotional body. It just, looks like, we're in your declaration of consciousness coming right at the time where it was supposed to be doomsday, but in reality, it was probably a spiritual time of spiritual renewal. Is definitely needed. Could go either way. I mean, you see so many contrasts right now with the ignorance and the enlightenment, and it just needs to tip towards the enlightenment. It's going to take something like a wave. Don't you agree?
We are the wave. We are this wave. See, from Nandhi's perspective, what is amazing is being a yogi from India here in America, seeing how yoga is blossoming, seeing the vast speed at which consciousness is traveling, watching how consciousness cannot be bettered now primarily because of information technology too, reaching everyone. And when consciousness reaches, it's just as much as a light switch being switched on. Almost in a moment, it travels, it moves. So when we come together as consciousness, we will be beginning to see how, even in China, it will reach. It will definitely reach every nook and corner where belief systems hammer and imprison people.
And how do you feel about this, all the Muslim religion and the domination of the Islamic religion, and in certain parts of the world as compared to what's happening, in this whole enlightenment path and what you believe in? And do you see them being able to, understand your path? Have you ever dealt with any people who are of that faith?
Being one of the most beautiful truths we could say that is there for us to examine is all the poets, all the philosophers, all the masters of higher consciousness, of all religions, of all cultures, at all times, have written one word more than even love. And that word was freedom. Freedom to simply be. So if you go into writing the Rumi, you go into writing the Hafiz, all of them come to the same place. Hey, wake up. You are source. You are God. This is a mystical element that is already present in all the religions. But previously when Sufis said, I am God, they were killed. They were murdered.
They were murdered, just like they're oppressing a lot of women now, and the female energy.
Consciousness cannot be handled. Christ was crucified. When Christ came in, he was mega mighty consciousness of this time, so they crucified him. Likewise, you come back into these times, when Thomas Jefferson actually mentioned declaration of consciousness, there was a part of him which also wanted in some ways to work it for the slaves too. There was, in history, there is a place where we look at it, seeing that he was struggling against it. But if he had said anything or done anything towards emancipating slavery, he would have definitely been killed and he would have been thrown away from the history of America then and there. Now, 50 years later, when Abraham Lincoln spoke about emancipation of slavery, Abraham Lincoln was killed, assassinated. In other words, consciousness was big. And whenever it came into a society in its vastness, they couldn't handle it.
They feared it.
They tried to destroy it. And yet the consciousness rebounded powerfully each time, and it grew each time. So it came back as Martin Luther King. Once again, Martin Luther King was assassinated, and yet the cause of Martin Luther King did fulfill. So finally, now we're coming into a place where this consciousness cannot in any way ever be purged anymore. It cannot in any way be pushed down. And this consciousness will wake up in every human to unshackle chains, to come to a place where they say, I declare my consciousness to simply be free. So if we ask Nandhi, what is Nandhi's religion, we would say we are the liberated. We are liberated. Liberated from what? Liberated first from the muck of belief systems. Liberated to simply be. Liberated to be consciousness. If you look into the journeys of consciousness, an atheist in reality, of someone who doubts, in reality, have a better chance of coming to a place where they have realized, they have enlightened. Example is Buddha himself. Coming
now,
to a place where
in the
understanding
Indian,
consciousness
in
to
the
be
Hindu
infinity.
belief system, in your belief system, you have the equivalent of Buddha, or do you have a Buddha? You call him Buddha.
In Nandhi, we don't have any more beliefs. We have gone past belief systems. We are in the experientials. We take everything by our own experience. So in our own experience, if you ask whom Brahma is, it's only our ego that brings us here. If you ask us whom Lord Vishnu is, we would say the mind that is awake, that sustains us is Lord Vishnu. If you ask who is Lord Shiva, it is our own spirit that is woken up to being the Almighty. That is Lord Shiva. So everything then is our own journey within as our own experience. No
so
more
these are
systems.
aspects of your own experience, in other words. That's a great way to understand it, because a lot of people are very confused about some of these paths to enlightenment, the Hindu paths of enlightenment, in relation to the different gods and goddesses.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. See, Swami Vivekananda had a big question, and he asked, if a cat has a god, what will that god be? What Nandhi is saying is, when we practice yoga, this is the specific, our religion itself is liberation. Yoga, religion is liberation. And we are liberated to understand everything from our own wisdom. And then when we see God, We see God in our own uniqueness. Just as a cat will see God as a cat, we will see God as in our own perfect fit of experience.
A direct direct connection to the source.
Exactly, and we wake up, and when we wake up, we realize, oh my God, I am having the same experience as all the other prophets. And then we begin to follow a prophet carefully. Then we begin to understand the first teaching of a prophet is do not follow another prophet. Do
Is
not
it really?
follow anyone outside yourself, but follow yourself, follow your own consciousness, and you are the prophet. You set rules, but you follow them strictly by yourself and do not impose your rules on anyone else. Your journey is towards your own cause of liberation to be happy. Liberation really necessarily means, are you in the state of joy? If you are in the state of joy, that is the state of higher consciousness. And that is the state of being. And that form you are. And this is your every moment journey. This is yoga.
So,
this is...
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. For a spiritual seeker who wants to start out on the path, would you recommend them starting out with meditation, starting out with the yoga practices? How do they, if they would go to your temple, and you have a temple in LA, what's the name of your temple in LA?
It's Arivan Temple. Arivan.
And what does Arivan mean?
Arivan means wake up. Arivan is awake. Arivan, Turiya. Turiya is a higher conscious mind, the fourth state of the mind. When we wake up, or when we are in a meditative state, or when we are in union with Source, we are in the fourth state of mind, which is Turiya. Sakti is the goddess, the energy of the fire within, the awake fire within. So that's Turiya Sakti Arivan Temple.
Okay, we're going to pause one moment here, for about a minute for a commercial, and we'll be right back, okay?
A new era in psychic services has begun. PsychicAccess.com. You can connect with our psychic advisors by telephone or chat 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All of our psychic advisors are interviewed, fully verified, and accuracy tested, assuring you quality service. We're living in some very troubled times right now. More and more, the world's problems are affecting us on a personal level. You don't have to deal with this alone. Our highly accurate psychics, caring advisors, and talented mediums can help with situations you are currently experiencing and can let you know what the future may hold for you. All new customers get a free 6-minute reading. All you have to do is register. Why not visit us now and get a free reading at PsychicAccess.com.
Okay, we're back with Guru Nandhi. So you were explaining your temple, and so for newbies and students who really want to get involved, what do you suggest as their first step on their path to enlightenment?
The first step is recognizing, okay, so if you want to step into the path of light, what is it that you are willing to give away? In other words, when you go to a temple, a church, a mosque, any place to pray, how do you want to pray? You want to go to God and say, hey, God, give me? Or do you want to go to God and say, hey, God, take me? You'd rather go, hey, God, take me, dissolve me. So then comes the question, what is it that you have to give in the first place? And then we realize the only thing that we have really, that we're trapped into is a body. The only thing that we are trapped into is the 24-hour day and night circle that we have of the mind. So the best thing to do really is giving the body. So that's one of those things, even if you watch a dancer dance, that's meditation. That's connecting to Source. That's yoga by itself. So take charge of the body and let that be surrendered into light. And slowly the mind too will begin to surrender itself into light. And slowly we begin to understand the 24-hour cycle that we have as day and night, as thought, as reality that is around us. we surrender that to, and then become the core where reality now starts going through around us, where our journey is about finding the infinity and being that infinity in every breath, expanding each moment, being the miracle. So, to begin with, get started with anything that gives a person a state of joy. Yoga is one path. There are thousands of other pathways. But most important is understand our body as a tool to a state of joy, and understanding that if we can utilize the body as a tool to the divine, then work it towards the divine as a journey towards joy every day, every moment.
So respecting our bodies and what we put into our bodies and honoring our bodies, because a lot of us don't. A lot of us, a lot of people, we'll eat junk food or this or that or stuff with low vibrations. Do you feel that diet plays a part in any of this?
See, when you start journeying towards the divine, and when you begin to start waking up, your next state of consciousness begins to take over. And in the next state of consciousness, you become aware, what are you putting in? If a person is smoking cigarettes, they begin to feel, hey, that smoke is poison. When people are eating, you begin to say, question, is this the right energy that should be going into this body? Is this the right energy? When you're talking, then you begin to see food as energy. Then slowly the mind itself starts working its way in a different dimension. There's a concept called the Paramahamsa. Hamsa is the swan, but this is the mythical swan. In other words, not true swan. It is just to show something. That is, if you mix milk and water, this swan was supposed to drink away the milk from the water. It's actually the mind. So when we start yearning towards light, when we start taking a journey to be the yogi, the mind and consciousness wakes up. And then we begin to start awakening to the swan within us. And in the swan within us, we begin to understand energy for where it is. We realize what is the energy we are putting into ourselves. What is the energy we want for ourselves. We begin to wake up to the law of dharma and karma. Karma is action. Dharma is your reason and purpose of being here on planet Earth. Then we begin to understand that everything we do has an energy and propensity to evolve us further and further and further. Then we begin to utilize consciousness to multiply consciousness.
So karma is our purpose, and the dharma is what? Is it our sacrifice, or what we're supposed to do to reach that purpose?
Karma is very much like a pattern of the past that is reflected in the now. The pattern of the past that is reflected in the now is karma. And then dharma is, now we've woken up. And then we see whatever is the pattern, limitations and unlimited, we transform that into the genius of our being. We transform that and then whatever we do from the state of being awake is a state of transformation, utilizing a karmic reality. We transform it into the next more beautiful dimension. For instance, like Helen Keller. Take the example of Helen Keller. She was stuck in the karmic negativity of all the possibilities that could hit a person, because her dharma that enabled her to wake up. And then she woke up one by one through all the layers. And in spite of her karmic limitation, she served in being able to be the inspiration for everyone else. That is her dharma. Now this is present. This is the wake up. And then when we wake up, we know we are guided. We are guided with a knowing. And our pathway each day is somehow beautiful in its own perfection. Mm-hmm.
So to be aware, waking up and being aware of things that happen, and because so many things happen to not only us, our clients, and because as psychics we hear a lot from our clients and things that happen with them, and to use those experiences as there's always a reason behind it and a lesson. Wouldn't you agree?
There are lessons in everything, but from Nandhi's perspective, the best way to journey within consciousness is to unlearn. When we say unlearn, we would rather say, see, the most powerful grace of all grace is that grace that takes us to the stillness within ourselves. And in that stillness, we begin to see the dance. And the dance is the state of joy that enables us to sit still. So
is the dance like
the digestion
an acceptance?
of the past.
Pardon me? Go ahead.
Here we digest the past. We digest karma. We digest any negativity. We take it over. So when we say we take it over, now, for instance, let Nandhi explain what we are meaning by this. If every one of us have a perfect cap, and that cap fits her head so perfectly, and that cap is a cap of problems. Every single person on planet Earth will have some unique problem that fits them so perfectly, so well. Now, knowing this, from our perspective, we would say, once a day, light your lamp. Connect to the source. Unlearn, burn, surrender all your worries, surrender all your past, surrender the mind, surrender everything, surrender every thought into that one light once a day, and escape and break free from the 24-hour chain, the 24-hour cage we are put inside. Break free. So when we step into this dimension of breaking free, then it is up to us to source. Anything that is hammering us, that is pulling us down, a cap of worries, surrender it into that light. And as we enter more and more into that light, we are not only burning our own past karma and our own karmic limitation and our own muck and poison and transforming it into something beautiful, we are also working with humanity's energy, the power behind meditation. We are beginning to then awaken the vastness of being within ourselves that goes beyond karma, that goes beyond destiny. That in the power of now, there is hardly much of destiny. Karma cannot affect the power of now. Once you step into the now, then all the karmic negativities not only just cease, they actually transform itself beautifully. So attaining the power of now is the most brilliant of rituals we would want to do for ourselves, to have to step into the higher conscious mind we want to utilize for each day.
And that would be reached through a meditative state, at least taking a little time each day to do that, like in the morning or right before you go to bed.
Very much. When you wake up in the morning, drink a lot of water, cleanse your bowels. Then when you watch a dog, after it's done its poop, it's jumping. When you watch a cat, after it's done its poop, it's jumping, right? Now, that's a good energy. So after you've done your bowel movement, do your yoga. Utilize that beautiful energy to do your yoga. And when you do your yoga, understand your breath. The first step which Nandhi would say, when Nandhi can give a beautiful tip, when you wake up in the morning, rub your two palms together and think of gratitude. Gratitude to your first gurus, your father and your mother and your father. Your left hand, your mother, your right hand, your father. Rub your palms and say, I am grateful, and let every cell in your body say, I am grateful. And let your whole body vibrate with gratitude, and you touch your palm of your left and your palm of your right to your eyes and receive the blessings of gratitude. That is how you would want to step into the day when you wake up. switch on gratitude, the power of gratitude. Then as you go in, then, as you go do your yoga, climb up. See, every day when you wake up, you're given the choice. What is the mind you want to create a reality? With which mind do you want to see a reality? For a yogi, we want to see the highest and the most beautiful state of consciousness through which we would want to perceive our human reality. So climb up utilizing your yoga, meditation into that state of mind. Spend time into that. It is a state of joy that you're stepping into. And then when we step into that state of joy and then work the day, not only does the day go around us, reality goes around us. We work understanding that we are the spirit having the human experience and having come here for a beautiful, powerful purpose. Look at the infinity, trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of light years and light years and light years, the size of the universe. This is how big we are. So one lifetime is in reality one wink. That's how short a lifetime is. One little wink is a whole lifetime. So what are you here to do? So every day is our birthday. Every day we wake up and say happy birthday to ourselves. Every day we wake up and say, this is the mind I want, and go into yoga to attain that blissful, joyful state. And then our journey at each moment is joyful and beautiful, and grace unfolds.
That is so, there were so many things. I mean, we could talk for, we could go on and on and on, but we're nearing the end of our interview, Nandhi, and it's just like, I would have to say that we're going to definitely have to have you on again, because there's so much more we would love to, talk about, especially music and everything. And I want to thank you, and I want to say namaste to you.
Thank you.
Isn't that the great the greeting?
See, namaste to you. Namaste to each one of us here. See, each one of us, are awake to know that we are infinite beings. And the very aspect of us all sharing breath with each other is blessings to each other. The blessings of evolved grace. Blessings to be. So, namaste to each one of you. Thank you so much. Gratitude.
Thank you so much for being. We have been very honored by your gracing us with your interview tonight. And you have a nice evening. Thank you.
Gratitude, divine one. Gratitude, everyone. Om Namah Shivaya. Om.
Hello, my name is Res Miranda. If you're having relationship, career, or life issues, I'm inviting you to experience what it's like to have access to professional, highly accurate psychics and spiritual advisors you can trust to care and help you. Register now to get your free 6-minute reading by telephone or chat. Get answers, get access, psychic access, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. PsychicAccess.com.